one day that's going to catch me air drumming, and everyone's going to see me just doing that. Welcome, everyone, to another Monday night Asian movie talk show live. I am the Arty Dans, and you are?
I am Wilco C Rullens. Welcome, and good to be back.
It is good to be back. How was your fortnight?
Pretty good. The Ouija is handed over to the distributor, so I have to wait for his signal to know what the street date will be. So keep an eye on this channel for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a few movies, like I think you did too.
Yeah. Do you want to go first? What did you see?
Oh, well, besides all the movies we're going to talk today, Zombie Fight Club and Bunshinsaba Hoichi The Earless, and then I also just immediately went on to see Bunshinsaba Vs Sadaka and Bunshinsaba Vs Sadako 2, and then I thought, hey, this ghost battle stuff is pretty good. Let's go to the source, or at least what I think it probably was the source, which is Sadako versus Kayako, so I watched that too, and that was kind of my... and I saw... F9 twice. Yeah, Fast and Furious 9.
Oh boy.
And
did you like it that much? I saw it
twice because the first time I was so drunk that I totally missed everything. And then the second time I watched it was so fresh and so new. I was like, did I see this yesterday?
Oh, God.
And actually, I thought it was pretty good when I saw it sober.
I hope you didn't pay twice for it. I hope paying once was more than enough. I hope it got you a second screening. I decided to watch the Korean movie Metamorphosis because everyone kept telling me it's such a great film. Right. And now I'm wondering why I listen to certain people who tell me that it was such a great film. I did see a Chinese film called Are You Lonesome Tonight, which was quite good. It's a very arty-farty kind of movie. I went back to my childhood and watched The Never-Ending Story because I'm a kid. Yeah.
That is my childhood movie as well.
Best German movie ever.
I had it on VHS, and that tape was destroyed after 5 years.
Do you know what's funny? Watching that movie in widescreen, I always wonder how the hell we watched a pan and scan version when there's so much going on in the frame. We must have really missed a lot watching it on VHS.
And we still loved it.
Now, I watched a Chinese horror movie that I, for the life of me, cannot remember the name of.
Oh,
it was rubbish. I watched two shark movies, Land Shark and Horror Shark. Horror Shark was not good. Land Shark was terrific.
Land Shark. Those are American movies, right?
No, Chinese monster movies. Yeah.
Land Shark. I know that there's a sand shark and a house shark.
We'll have to get those then.
But those are not Chinese, though.
Now, I watched another movie I'm not allowed to talk about yet until next time. Well, I think I already told you what that was. And then Zombie Fight Club and Bunshinsaba. So first of all,
yes,
we're going to start talking about Zombie Fight Club.
We are
Taiwanese. My wife says it's Hong Kong, but I don't think it's Hong. I think it's Taiwanese, but I
researched it and I found Taiwan. It looks like Hong Kong because everyone's speaking English. But the official if you look it up online, they say it's Taiwanese. So I don't know.
Yeah,
but it could be Hong Kong. I mean, I have. It seems that the lead actress is Hong Kongese. What's her name again?
Jessica C.
Jessica C. Yeah, and then the other guy, Alex something.
Andy On.
Oh, Andy On. Yeah, those are all Hong Kongese actors, but they say it's a Taiwanese movie, so probably Taiwanese money or shot in Taiwan with then Hong Kongese actors, probably.
So I'm going to play my cards straight up.
Yes.
I've seen this movie twice.
Yes.
I hated it the first time, and I abhorred it the second time. Absolutely.
Oh, you hated it? You still hate it? So
I still hate it. Now, first of all, before I get your opinion on it, we got a guest reviewer for this particular episode that had a look at this for us. So this is another YouTuber by the name of Jonathan Asia. Now, he's got a very slightly strong accent, but you can still kind of make out his passion for the film. So before I completely destroy it, let's hear what Jonathan has to say.
Oh.
Whoa.
Come on, John. I don't hear nothing. I'm sorry. I have no audio.
Oh. He's saying Michael Wong and zombies. No need to say more.
You got to narrate for him?
I'm going to have to, I think, if you can't hear him. I can hear him.
Okay. I don't know, because I don't know if the people at home can hear him.
He's saying that it brilliantly mixed several genres, zombie, action, and women in prison.
Oh, yeah. The audience at home cannot hear him either.
Oh, really? Well, damn it. I don't know why you can't hear him. Well, I'm really sorry, Jonathan. He's saying... Oh, let's rewind you back, because he's saying... Let's have a... He says it has charisma, and it blends perfectly with the beauty of Jessica C.
Yeah, he's a big fan of Jessica C. But is there a way that we can hear him say that himself?
I don't know how we... I don't know how we can get his sound. Maybe I might leave a link to it, and maybe we can listen to it later.
That's a good idea.
I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, link in the
description.
description.
Sorry, Jonathan. He put a lot of effort into that video too. But essentially, he ends it.
I felt the passion. I mean, he loves this right here.
Yes, and he ended the review by one of possibly my favorite things I've ever heard him say. He fucking loved it, was what he said.
Yes. There you go. Another one.
Now, I love you, Michael. Sorry, I love you, Jonathan, but I'm not sure about Zombie Fight Club at all.
It was very clear that Jonathan really thinks that he called it a guilty pleasure. He really thinks Zombie Fight Club is a guilty pleasure for him, mostly because of Jessica C, I believe. And when I see those pictures, I agree with him. The thing is, except for here, when I see her hair is short, I don't like this.
I thought she's the best there.
All right, well, I don't agree. But in my opinion, this is the thing, right? I don't know what to think of this film. Because when it started, I thought it started really, really great. I screamed, hey, I screamed to my CEO, I said, hey, let's go to Taiwan. Because in Taiwan, we can do the boobs and the hot chicks and the blood and the gore. What we cannot do in China, if we would ever like to do stuff in Chinese, let's go to Taiwan. I mean, hey, that could be a cool market to explore. So that was how I started. And I went into it knowing that you didn't like it. And I didn't even look at Jonathan's review before I saw the movie, because I didn't want to be influenced. And when I saw the start, I was ready to like it. I was ready to defend it. I was like, oh, come on, how can you not like this? I mean, that has to be a problem with you if you look at all those beautiful things on the screen. But then 30 minutes in, it kind of lost steam, and it kind of just... But I really think that the first half hour is good. I'm sorry. I think, because of stuff like this, I think the first half hour is really good. But then it just kind of lost its steam, like I said. And I just think it's so weird, because the marketing, in my opinion, hurt it for me. Because the marketing is good, but it's also bad. It's good because it uses the high concept way of, Zombie Fight Club. And the trailer is basically, if the movie was Zombie Fight Club, then the trailer and the film is just as short of a half an hour. It just has an hour-long intro before that half an hour starts.
Oh, God.
Let's say. And I was so surprised that first hour was actually a very classic zombie movie with just survivors in an outbreak, and they all have their own stories, and they all die one by one, which is very 80s, 90s outbreak type of film, especially in a small environment. So I was ready to like it, but then I noticed that it was quite empty, and that what they were fighting for was maybe local or cultural. It was not. I didn't think it was poetic or beautiful in most cases. And then I thought, wow, the marketing really only focused on that last half hour, didn't they? And that confused me, because I was waiting. I was like, where does this Fight Club start? I mean, I don't get it. We're an hour in. We now know everything about these characters that are now dead. But what's next? Where are we going?
You know what? I suppressed this movie so much, Wilco, that I don't even recall there being a fight club at the end. So, I was an hour. Yeah. Well, I was an hour in, and I'm thinking, this movie title is bullshit. Where is this fight club? And then, of course, that title card comes up to jump it forward 1 year.
Yeah.
And I thought, you're doing a peninsula on me now. You're jumping forward 1 year and you're making it very unrealistic in that no one's come to do anything.
What I am thinking is, because, again, I tried to like it, right?
One of us had to.
I think the idea is here that Fight Club was supposed to be a surprise, as in, hey, this is what the world could do in that situation. But then the trailer's like, no, it's gonna be cool zombie fights all the way. And then the first half hour is good, and I wanted to like it. And I'm thinking, if this movie came out in back in the day in the 80s on VHS, we probably would have loved it. That's what I'm thinking.
Do you know why? Because we would have looked at Jessica C's acting,
yes,
and not cared, because that was the kind of acting that was going around. But
what do you mean acting? You mean just Jessica C? We would just look at Jessica C.
Every time she opened her mouth, it was shut up.
Oh, I remember one part. I have to mention it, and that is so funny because that's kind of I noticed that at the end, when the guy is in the cage, it's like yeah. All the somebody in the chat says that all the actresses look hot, though. They do. They sure do.
But someone also says that the film doesn't know what it wants to be, and that is 100% correct as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well, in my opinion, it's like they had two movies, but it just put it together because it didn't have enough funding to do the two films. Like the first hour was supposed to be the prequel, and then the Zombie Fight Club, they were working towards that, and that was supposed to be a second movie or something.
Now, what about... Now, it feels like a gory movie, but it's not. Everything is done in CGI.
Well,
which
I want to say that. Dude, there is like good practical effects as well. And I must say, some of the VFX are... This movie has everything. Good stuff and bad stuff. Good VFX, bad VFX. Sure, all the explosions are ridiculous. A video co-pilot starter kit explosions. But there are some shots that I looked at like, how do they did that? That was like
car driving.
There's a guy in the beginning that is shot in his face, and a chunk of his head is off, and that is just with CG put on, but it looks great because it's like well tracked. Let's say the motion tracking is done very well in that one particular shot, but then the rest of the movie, it's all loose sand and it just goes haywire. But there are some really good VFX shots here and there. And some inventive things that happen here, and like the guy with the mouth in his chest. When did you see that in the zombie movie that wasn't called Resident Evil? It made no sense in the lore.
Yes, thank you. Made no sense.
That's true.
How all of a sudden he's got teeth.
No, I wanted to love this movie. And the beginning, I thought I'm gonna love this movie, but then half hour later, I was like, maybe not.
Maybe again. And Glenn makes another great point that the bad stuff does outweigh the good stuff. Now, I struggle to find anything good other than the death of certain characters. Like when that stupid woman went to go find the baby, and very clearly at the start, that baby is a fake doll. Because it doesn't move when the woman's holding it.
Bad stuff. That's the example of bad stuff. Exactly.
Michael Wong is horrible. And his whole little rapey crew where they go into the professor's house with a gaggle of teenage girls.
When it turns into Last House of the Left. When
it's all creepy. It's all... What I also don't get is that this apartment block has the best and worst of every apartment in the universe in it. It has nice apartments. It has crappy apartments. It has a guy with a Filipino maid who somehow has his car stored in the unit next door. Now, I can take my brain out and put it in a jar and suspend my disbelief. I watch a lot of Chinese movies, so that's all easy for me. But I think the sum of all parts just got to me, and I just couldn't take this film. And it's that piss stain color grading that's added throughout the whole film that I did not like.
Well, I just really, I was...
That was funny, though. The head bit is funny.
And done also quite well. And I think this is a good prosthetic makeup. I mean, come on. I mean, they did do some effort. It's not all terrible. I mean, there are some good practical effects in there, in my opinion.
This scene was funny. I'll give it that. That scene was funny with the people having the party.
See, another great effect here.
And I remember when that effect happens, the film very clearly cuts to there's a real bad jump cut edit in that bit where all of a sudden the zombie's like that, and then all of a sudden it cuts to him exploding the face.
His arm is pretty good here in the foreground. We just saw.
Yeah, I mean they're pretty good too. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I mean, I thought the movie starts with her with that delivery girl. I thought the delivery girl was nice to look at.
Yeah.
Also, the girl that had a thing for the professor, I thought she was nice to look at as well.
Oh yeah, yee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were things that, I looked at the movie with my 16-year-old eyes, or let's say the eyes of a 16-year-old, and I really wanted to like it, but halfway through I became old and bitter.
Yes. Yeah. And I sat there and thought, who the hell really is going to enjoy this?
I wanted to love it. I wanted to love it. The first half hour. You know what? Watch the first half hour and then just put it off, because the rest is not. Because to be honest, let's be critical. Let's be critical about a movie you think is crap anyway.
Right. Go.
But let's be critical and nitpicky here, right?
Okay, yeah.
That lead, the professor guy, the guy that spoilers, kills all of the classmates of his daughter because his daughter gets killed, and so he kills everyone because he thinks they deserve it because his daughter died.
Yeah.
Now we're jumping in the future, and all of a sudden he is the leader that has chicks with him as like bodyguards and stuff. And what does it? And I'm like, that doesn't fit the character.
No.
Because he killed all the women, and now all of a sudden he's a harem. I'm like, what is that? So he killed all the young girls because he loved his daughter so much, but now he has a bunch of young girls as a leader. Like, how does that fit in his character? What happened in that year that he transformed that much?
And continuing that, how is all of a sudden he's such this powerful character that he actually controls this underground lair that they live in? Where was that? Where was that in him?
I don't know.
No.
I guess they thought a psychopath can do that. I don't know.
This is the most animated I'm ever going to get on this show, but no. Yes. And I blame you because you made me watch this again. We were not doing Zombie Fight Club this episode. It was something else.
I saw the poster and I liked the poster. I thought the poster looked good. And I said, we should watch this. The title, the poster, I thought, let's do it. And I am happy I saw it because this whole episode is about discovering new things.
Yes.
I now learned something about Thailand I didn't know about the type of movies you can make there. On the other hand, maybe,
Thailand or Taiwan?
Sorry, Taiwan. Sorry, I meant Taiwan. So I learned something about Taiwan, which I didn't know, is that you can make those type of movies there. Although, if Karen's correct, then it could be Hong Kong, and then we knew that. But
no, I've seen plenty of boob out movies in Taiwan. So no, Taiwan seems pretty relaxed, and especially if you add something that's anti-mainland in it, they'll probably lap it up.
It has to be Taiwan because they speak Mandarin.
Yeah. And they also speak far too much English.
Yeah, and a lot of English you don't even expect. Yeah. So people are having lots of fun that you had to watch it again.
Oh, it's awful. And the worst part was I put my phone away, so I couldn't start playing with my phone during the movie when I usually tune out of something. I thought, no, I have to watch this whole goddamn thing because Wilco's going to watch it all and he's going to probably quiz me on, oh, Dan, do you remember this scene? And I want to be able to say, yeah, I do remember that scene and I fucking hated it. I hated everything about it.
I'm not quizzing anyone. But anyway, I this is the last thing I can say. So I didn't know what to think of it, and I guess that's what I just said. That's it. The first half hour, the 16-year-old in me wanted to love it, but I just grew old halfway the movie. The movie made me feel old halfway. That's what it is.
There's a bit of trivia for your producer when she gets around to watching it, or if she's watching it now. Oh, your producer is online. Okay. Did she recognize Derek Sang? Famous director of... She didn't watch it. Okay.
She didn't watch it. I went through it alone, crying.
Well, director of Better Days, the best Chinese drama movie in God knows how long, was in this film.
Oh, really?
Do you know who he was? Do you know?
No. Who? Tell me.
He was the drug addict brother. He was her boyfriend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The popular guy.
The popular guy.
The popular guy. Use my loft, whatever. Do whatever you want.
Have you seen the Hong Kong movie Dream Home?
He was a young guy. Is that the one where this woman cannot get a house because too expensive? She just starts killing everyone in order to get
the apartment she wants.
Yeah.
Brilliant film.
That's a good movie.
Derek Tsang's in that as well. In that scene of the guys playing the music and the drugs.
Oh, really?
So he's in that as well. So
nice. That was a good scene, by the way.
And the whole movie was terrific.
And I must say that on Dream Home, now you talk about Dream Home had one of the best VFX shots in it that I saw in a long time, which is very simple. But as when she stabs a guy in the back, that you see the knife just stick out of his chest. It's a very simple effect, but it's done so well with the right execution that it just looked horrible.
See, now we're getting chats. They love Dream Home too. I think we did the wrong film in this episode. We bloody did the wrong film.
Well, you know, Zombie Fight Club is no Dream Home. That's for certain.
And I want to apologize again to Jonathan Asia from the YouTube channel for his review.
Everybody check out his video in the description.
Please.
You feel his passion for this film. That not everybody hates it. Like I wanted to love it. Dan hates it. Jonathan actually liked it. So
and I believe Glenn told us last episode that all the good bits were in the trailer, and I don't think he was lying at all.
Well, that is correct if you look at how the high concept was presented. But I missed a lot of beautiful ladies that weren't in the trailer. So in my opinion, he missed a few a few shots that I saw in the film and said, hey, the reason why I wanted to like it was the first half hour, and not a lot of that first half hour was in the trailer, in my opinion.
No. I'm done with Zombie Fight Club.
Yes, all right.
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Zombie Fight Club.
All right.
Done with it.
So,
throw it in the trash. Boom.
In the trash. Boom.
Or actually, wait until it's released on VHS. Then I'll give it another watch on my CRT.
Do you know what? If you want, I've got a bootleg DVD behind me, the one that you saw. I can just dump that on a VHS for you. I'll put a little label on it. It can be an authentic bootleg. Just like buying them in Hong Kong back 30 years ago.
That could be a good idea. And then I just jam it in my VCR, and then I will just get stuck and I ruin my my entire setup.
Well, what will happen is, because I'll record it in PAL and you'll get it there in NTSC, and you'll be like, well, this doesn't
horrible.
work.
Everything's in black and white. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be classic film.
Good old PAL and NTSC. Now, let's move on to something fun and something new.
Something up and coming.
Yeah. So,
well, you have something lined up, like I mentioned last time. Today, we have a nice sneak peek, although it's more like a full trailer. The first time presentation of the full trailer of Tokyo Bay Films CultureSHOCK Japan's new film coming out later this year. We're still waiting on the street date, so please, come back to learn more about that in the future. And then this is the trailer for Ouija Japan. I'll give a little introduction here. I wrote down our marketing blurb, so I will just read that up. I will just read that. Karen, an American living in Japan, desperately wants to fit in and plays a Japanese Ouija with her peers, unwittingly disrespecting a local deity who sets her up to fight her newfound friends in a deadly game of battle royale. Ouija Japan is a female-led action horror film combining two popular horror elements, the Ouija and the Japanese Battle Royale. Discover the Japanese Ouija, how it differs, what it does, how it works, and experience a Japanese twist on the genre. Directed by Masaya Kato, written and directed by Masaya Kato, this is Ouija Japan. It's kill or be killed. Let the hunt begin.
Now, I'm going to play the video file because I'm worried if I play the other one, they'll have no sound. So I'm going to play the proper video file. Let's kick into it. There will be.
Please let there be sound. Or else it's a really... there we go.
The size of that shot, that sniper rifle.
I've been here for the past 6 months, and I feel like I'm just not getting along with anyone.
Just because you came from a different country doesn't mean we will give you a special treatment.
Oh, nice.
I got invited by the other women at the community meeting to this camping thing.
Sounds like fun. You'll be fine. You should go.
You should go.
You'll be
beautiful
fun.
countryside.
Yeah, nice. Location shots.
コックリさんやろ。
コクリさん? A Ouija board.
コックリさん、コックリさん。We invite you to come visit us. I guess now you're cursed by the fox, Karen.
Someone help!
A person is dead!
We should probably get this started.
Let's do it.
Oh, yeah. You always get the best music for these trailers, Wilco.
This one goes straight back to the 90s.
Oh!
So it's really the last one surviving's the only one who can get out?
Go on. Shoot!
I can't do this.
Fight whatever is in my way. I always have, and I won't stop now.
Well,
I
she
told
looks
you,
cool, that girl.
it's kill or be killed.
Nothing like a bit of giggling to end that off. That's great. So, tell us, tell us when you're hoping that will come out. I know you're waiting for
I am hoping Halloween. I'm hoping around the end of October. But like I said, I just sent it to the distributor. We have to wait until they can give me the exact street date, and then it's going to be mostly of the same venues and ways you can get Tokyo Homestay Massacre. But then, yeah. Yeah. The thing is, just like my reading of this, because it's still new, I am not as trained and fresh in giving all the information on this newer film. Okay, but what I can tell you is that as soon as we have a release date, then we're gonna go. Dan's gonna do a review. The trailer's gonna go on Asian Film Fans. And then we're gonna do another press release like we did with Homestay, and then we have another bunch of reviews coming in then when we can look at. Of that.
So I think this one will do all right, because I do like the concept of the friendly kill from the looks of it. They're all getting together for this girls' weekend away to start the game. So,
well, it's not a Chinese movie. I can tell you, it's not a Chinese.
Now
movie,
I know they'll really die. Yeah. How much does the fox play a part in the film, or are you just going to say, Dan, you got to wait until you can see it?
The fox is the one who's behind all it. So it just pops up now and then, just to give a little mysterious nod here and there, and just to be annoying. I can imagine if I was one of the housewives, it would be annoying. You get no answers and you're just being pushed to kill each other. Yeah. At least you get cool gadgets on your phone, so that's cool.
Where was it shot? So the locations are great.
Yeah, this was shot in Chiba. So that's close to Tokyo. It's like a rural area. It's basically most people who work and live in Tokyo end up in Chiba because it's a little cheaper. But it's a big place. So where we shot is actually quite far from Tokyo at the end, because it's like on the other side of Chiba, let's say. But that's the more countryside, and it's it has its own positive things, but also its own negative things. It's very rural, so we have more wildlife sounds in the background and stuff like that. You'll notice that throughout. But yeah, it's an exciting movie. I am looking forward to the reaction of everyone when it finally comes out. But we'll keep you posted, and small things will come out, clips, stuff. So we will keep you, at least give you a 2 months head start.
Can you tell me a bit about the American actress? Or I assume she's American. Can you tell me a bit about her?
Half Japanese. She comes from New York.
Yep.
Originally, what the good story, a funny story about that is that she actually auditioned, but she was actually supposed to be helping us as an assistant, as a production assistant. So we had other actresses lined up to play the lead. And then our director was like, can she maybe also have an audition? And then she was like, yeah, why not? And then the director said, I like looking at her so much. She must be interesting. So he decided to cast her for the role, while she actually is supposed to be just the assistant, a production assistant, supposed to get coffee and do little things, but then now she's the star in the film. So, weird how these things go, because the thing is, her acting was also solid in all the auditions. So
don't forget to add that as a bit of trivia on your IMDb page when you start it.
Well,
that's the kind of stuff people love to know about.
Stuff like that, but I guess I can add a few things. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It's great. I think when you and I first started chatting about a year and a half ago, I remember you telling me, you had 3 films on the horizon.
Yeah.
And it's great to see the trailer for Ouija Japan.
Yes.
Is this the final trailer, or will you do another one?
This is the final trailer. Yeah.
Beautiful. So everyone's
because we're juggling the 3 movies, we're not going to have multiple trailers for this.
Beautiful.
So,
now, the great thing about this movie is the concept of the Ouija now leads us into our next discussion.
That is true. There's also a little board action going on in those movies. In this movie.
Or in the series. No, there is a board in this movie. Yes, there is. Now, we're going to take a look at one of the strangest yet coolest Chinese horror movies that have come out in a little while.
Definitely.
It was originally set to come out in 2020 as Bunshinsaba Vs Sadaka 3. Some reason it got held up by, I believe it was Youku, were the distributors of this one. Okay. Because that's where I saw it. I saw it on Youku's channel on YouTube. And then they retitled it to Bunshinsaba Hoichi The Earless. So as you and I were discussing beforehand, Hoichi is part of Japanese mythology about a lute player who was playing for a dead general and was getting called. I did a bit of reading. So the story of Hoichi is that he was called every night to play to this dead general. And one night, the priest of his local village followed him and said to him, "You're playing for a devil. There's a curse on you. We need to get rid of it." So in order to do that, he covered Hoichi's body head to toe in sutras, little characters. Then that night, the demon's guard came to collect Hoichi, and he couldn't see him because the suture rendered him invisible. The only thing he could see was his ears. So he ripped his ears off. Now, Hoichi, in absolute pain, deciding not to scream or cry or anything, was later found by the priest, who realized that he made a big mistake by not putting sutras on his ears. Thus, Hoichi is now earless. And the legend goes that he went on to become a very famous musician.
Yes.
So
could you now explain how that is used in the film, in how Bunshinsaba is gonna, confront that Hoichi?
And this is it. It never happens.
Exactly.
It never happens at all. As we saw, the closest we ever get to anything resembling Hoichi is the wooden statue that Yume finds that the sutures get activated on it when the ghost hunter touches it. Otherwise, there is nothing to do with Hoichi in it. And
Hoichi's not in it.
It's not in it.
So nothing to do with it.
No. So the wooden statue that the girl finds is actually Kumanthong, a Thai deity.
Exactly.
And by her accidentally making a blood sacrifice to the statue, she unleashes the spirit of Jarona, which I Googled Jarona, and that doesn't exist at all. So again, the scriptwriters have made something up. So what we end up having is Jarona, a spirit of a Kumanthong, is released into this house, and she's very strong. And Yume, the girl, realizes that she is being haunted. So she calls upon 2 hilarious ghost hunters. These 2 guys, they are absolutely hilarious characters. And they realize that she's very powerful. And they call Bisian, the pen fairy, also known as Bunshinsaba, for assistance. But they realize that Bisian is not strong enough to defeat her. And they think that the only way they can beat Jarona is if they can get Sadako and Pen Fairy to give up their differences, join together, and fight her. So there's a hilarious scene where she watches a different version of the tape in order to get Sadako to come out of the TV. And did you notice when Sadako comes out, the Chinese have to have a piss take on Japan? She falls off the table when she comes out.
She does that in all the films. She just drops out of the screen. She just plops on the ground. You see, and then in this one, it's extra funny because you see her feet like fall out of the screen. Yeah, so that is exactly what happens. And I was so surprised by this movie. Just like I was surprised with Zombie Fight Club, like, hey, that stuff can be done in Taiwan. I was surprised by this movie about this ghost battle concept that I didn't really know about beforehand. And then when I saw this movie, I was surprised by everything. I thought at first it's going to be this very typical ghost film with a long-haired ghost girl, but then all of a sudden it's like a battle between a Sadako and then a red dress Sadako. Basically, if you say it like very flat, it's like two long-haired Sadakos beating the shit out of each other with telekinesis and stuff like that. And I was like, whoa. This is amazing. This is great. What is this? And it became kind of like Chinese ghost story with the effects they're using. But what I noticed first from this movie is that the set design is really well done. It looks like a high quality movie. The movie looks really good. And besides the set design being well done and the color correction is well done with the teal and orange, and the cinematography looks good. The women are beautiful. I mean,
Yume's gorgeous.
In Zombie Fight Club, they're hot, but this is like, no, these are beautiful. These are a completely different level, or let's say a different caliber. But the movie looks great. And then I was so surprised by this twist of the Chinese ghost story, ghost battle, let's say, with all the wind machines and the fogs and the
flying
craziness.
stakes.
Yeah, and then of course the Bunshinsaba's power of throwing pencils.
Oh God, yes,
and stakes. But then what I thought was even better, and what I wanted Zombie Fight Club to do, this movie did. This was the movie that made me like giggle like a little schoolgirl.
Oh, absolutely.
When at one point they were like, oh, this one ghost, because there's basically three ghosts from different origins. So we have a Japanese one,
franchises,
we have a Chinese one, and we have a Thai one. Franchises, actually, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the Thai one is the main bad guy here. And then we have the Chinese one, who's more in the Chinese sense a god or a deity, a protector of the young girls, let's say. But she's not strong enough. And then they want someone else to help, just like you said, because it's like they only used half of the energy to defeat the Thai ghost. And therefore, they needed more energy from a different ghost to help. And then I was so surprised, and it made me smile in a very positive way when they were talking about, we need another one. What are we supposed to do? How about we watch the cursed tape? Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, cursed tape? Because I didn't know anything about this versus Sadako thing. So I only knew this red, the red dress ghost, and then this Thai one. And I was so surprised because I didn't know that Sadako was in it, or at least a version of Sadako.
I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to tell you at all.
It was great. And then the fact that when they were discussing it, that these two, the professor and his wacky sidekick, they're like, I don't want to watch this tape. And then the lead says, very heroic, I'll watch the cursed tape. I'm like, well, we're going to watch the cursed tape? I was like, all right, let's do this. And then you see this rip-off tape from The Ring, but then without any ring in it.
None of the footage of it, completely different.
He comes out of the screen, and like you said, he flops out of the screen, so he just falls out of it. And then it is all of a sudden a battle of three ghosts. I'm like, what's going on here? And then it just went off the rails from there. And I thought it was great. I didn't expect it. I didn't know this existed, and I loved it. This movie did what I hoped Zombie Fight Club could do.
I think that's the thing with Chinese horror.
I am very happy and thankful that you introduced this movie to me.
That's the thing with Chinese horror. It's a very crappy genre. You cannot make a decent horror movie in China. So they tend to try and do something outrageous to at least make it remotely fun. Now, I paused the slideshow on this shot because this is the ghost hunter's attic lair. Yeah. And you can see there's that big, huge a machine in the background that they use to get all this plasma energy. There you could see Sadako in the frame, and they're just looking at her like, what the hell is she doing here? He's standing on the table. I don't know. I can't remember why he's standing on the table. There's that that strange cage that they use to kind of channel her energy. And if you can see on the table, there's a makeup mirror, and there's I think there's the helmet that she wears to channel everything. So
in other words, this is just a production still then.
This is it. But there's also a the set that's supposed to be in Japan, where she's walking through the village, where she first comes out of the well or whatever their type of well, looks great as well. As does that scene of the girl combing her hair, and she turns around and that samurai is just right next to her. Like that's a legitimate jump scare that you don't see coming. That's
what I also cool. Like this. This what I'm talking about. This Chinese long black hair waving in the wind action stuff you always see in the 80s and in those Shaolin type films, let's say. That's why I reference Chinese Ghost Story with this movie, because it has that same type of effect, let's say. And then I noticed it in the beginning immediately when we had this opening scene where basically it starts with our lead wanting to jump off a bridge, and then her sister, I believe it's her sister, with a long red dress, grabs her. And even that scene, I know it's so clearly CG. I mean, green screen. But even that scene had her long black hair waving in the wind, and it just looked good. It just was just well shot. It's just very appealing to look at, and it's just well made. So I do applaud this film for that. And now, then you told me that Bunshinsaba, that this was actually part 3 of this series, that is actually Bunshinsaba versus Sadako 3.
Yeah, you can see the posters. The original posters are still advertising it as part 3.
And when you told me that, I was like, I have to see 1 and 2. So I was sold. I have to see 1 and 2.
And now the thing
is that I must say one thing though, and that's about the 3, let's say, or Hoichi the Earless, who's not in it, is the fact that I thought the first ghost battle was really good, but I did think that the ghost battles after that were a little quick. Less. A little quick, a little less good, let's say. I wanted more of these slower action poses, more of them actually hand-to-hand combat instead of this flash.
They kind of chase each other around the room, as just kind of blurs.
And I do understand why this is not labeled as part 3 at this point, because the Bunshinsaba is a different Bunshinsaba than in 1 and 2.
And that makes sense once you've seen the end of this one.
But all 3 movies do the similar thing. So if you go back and watch 1 and 2, you'll see all the things that are in this one as well. Like
beautiful.
The structure is similar. Some story points are similar. The fact that they always go to the realm of the ghost at the end is in all 3 films.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah. So what you said, that you love that scene, that they basically do that in all 3. And that's where the final battle comes in. And because I was like, oh my God, this movie would be great for a remake, because I just want to ramp up the action. But then I saw part 2, and I must say, part 2 fixed that lust I had for a better battle, let's say, because number 2, in my opinion, has the best ghost battles of the 3 films.
Now, you said part 2 you found on YouTube, is that right?
Yes.
All right, so I might try and look that up as well.
It's on YouTube with subs. It's of course illegal as hell, but it is.
Where else can you find these movies?
Where else are you going to find this? Yeah. I mean, I'm also pretty sure they don't even have the rights to use the name Sadako anyway. So, and then Bunshinsaba is also based on a Korean movie franchise. So they just stole all kind of names there of famous franchises. But I must say that the second one has slightly better battles and even a big ass battle at the end. So definitely watch number 2.
You're selling it well to me.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. Well. The first one, I guess you have to watch it just to see for completeness, let's say, just where it started. But I do think that the first one was made when Sadako versus Kayako came out, but they hadn't seen the movie. And then because I think that the second one is closer to Sadako versus Kayako, how it's presented. So I think they made the first one just knowing that the film came out in order to capitalize on it. Yeah, but then when it came out, then used it for part 2. And then, but I do think, and I have to say, and I have to compliment, I do think they have their own identity now with the third one. And that's probably also why they didn't call it 3, because it's a different Bunshinsaba, and also because it's more interconnected with the story, that it's like not really, a ghost, but the sister, let's say, to ruin it, to spoil it. But
if anyone knows Chinese horror movies, they know they're not going to. None of the ghosts are real, so it's just obvious that they're not real. And in this movie, the way that this movie ends, even though it has to use one of the 3 approved endings, is actually really good. I didn't feel really cheated watching this one. I felt like when it ended, I thought that was a perfect ending. That made a lot of sense. And
I love the time travel aspect. I mean, they didn't have to do that. It was just, they set things up in the beginning, and then when you come back to it, it's like, it's cute. It's like a little Back to the Future moment.
It's a nod. Yeah, it's a nod to everything. But with the name Bunshinsaba, though, there's a lot of Chinese films with that name. And this movie translates to Pen Fairy Talk. So it doesn't even use the Bunshinsaba name. And there's 3 Chinese Bunshinsaba movies from the same director as the Korean one.
Yes.
They're just called a Ouija board, which I think is what the Korean movie translates to, a Ouija board. So Bunshinsaba is now just some kind of generic brand name for these movies. I think because they know that no one knows who the Pen Fairy is. And I've told you this before. I've seen Sadako and Bisian, the Pen Fairy, fight in other movies. And the joke was that they've made Bisian a good character. Yep. So she's Chinese. She represents China. She's a good character. Sadako is Japanese. She's evil. And, it's that whole Battle of Nanjing thing. I think that China's got to get their revenge on Japan somehow.
And the same thing happens in all 3 movies. It is like every time they summon the Bunshinsaba with that Ouija board, and then in the background you have Sadako coming out of a phone or coming out of a screen, and then the hands go close to the Chinese lead girl, and then last minute, there she is.
Bisian's there to save the day. Yeah. Now, according to my wife, and maybe your EP a producer can verify this. Bisian is a game usually played by teenage girls, and according to my wife, she played it once to try and figure out something about a boyfriend, and freaked out when the actual pen started moving. So the idea of Bisian is based on a real story or a real game that teenagers play, which is why she appears in so many of these Chinese horror films.
And of course, like in the movie, you have to draw a circle to know that she's there, right? So when Karen asked about her boyfriend, they draw a round circle. That was you.
This was 25 years ago, so it's far before she met me.
It was already predicted. That round circle was you.
Well, that's probably why Karen said she ran away screaming after it happened, and she never wanted to do Bunshinsaba again. So when I run around the house going, Bisian, Bisian, she goes, stop doing that. It's not funny.
And there's a nice comment in the chat that so basically Bunshinsaba is the Chinese Ouija. So Ouija China.
Yes, that's right. Ouija China. There we go.
There we go. Good link. I must say I want to make one final comment on,
of course,
on this movie, and it's just to glorify it more because I am all for this movie. I went back after the Bunshinsaba versus Sadako 1 and 2, and then this one, which is they removed the 3 and called it a non-relevant Hoichi The Earless.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Sadako versus Kayako because I thought, oh, if this started it all, it must be really, really cool. If that is leading all these movies in China, then they were so inspired, right? It's really bad. Sadako versus Kayako is actually quite bad. Yeah. Bad in a way that it's in the writing, in my opinion, is just it's a little silly and it's a little simple. And it's only about Sadako. It's I don't understand. Sure, Kayako's in there, but it's all about Sadako. And to be honest, when they don't meet until the last end.
Oh, spoiler! I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. Okay, then I cannot say anything. But
no, you can say a little bit.
Well, what I wanted to say is that Sadako destroys Kayako in 2 seconds.
Jeez. Look, I know it was bad. Everything I've heard about it has been said it is a bad film. So a final question.
But not only that, I just want to say one last thing about that is that not only, but she isn't really destroyed yet because, of course, it's Japan. So none of them can really win because they're both icons in Japan. So what do you think happens at the end? You can
leave yourself open for a sequel like Freddy versus Jason did.
It didn't close exactly. It actually it just ended in a ghost attack, let's say. So no, but what would you do if one cannot win from the other?
What would I do as a fan?
As a fan,
I would be pretty pissed off.
No, but I mean, no, in the movie, you have two of them, but none of them can win. So what would be the Japanese way, henshin, in order to progress this story? Kamen Rider, henshin. They merged together into one evil.
Oh, are you kidding? No. Oh, no. And what do they call themselves?
I don't know, but they are just, one long-haired white dress thing.
Oh, that's awful.
And now they just, and it also ends in an attack. So you think that, they won. They defeated it. Nope. It just ends.
I don't think I want to watch this now.
I thought that was interesting. Like, that's a very Japanese thing to do. It's like, King Kong or Godzilla. Well, none of them can really win. So let's make them become, one.
and make them destroy Hong Kong for some reason.
Yeah. No, but that's not the bad part. The bad part is not so much the blending or the fact that Sadako is so overpowered. And it's actually that Kayako is a very, very minute side character. It's really the writing and the presentation is a little silly and juvenile, in my opinion. So that makes it not as good. That is just, the presentation is just not as good. And this is my point, is that I heard you say, well, at least Sadako versus Kayako, the original Japanese, must be way better than the Bunshinsaba versus Sadako, right? The shitty Japanese movies. No. I think Bunshinsaba is way better than Sadako versus Kayako.
Because they have no affinity to any of these characters.
They don't love any of it.
Yeah, they don't love. And as you could see from this movie that we watched, mythology means nothing to them. Hoichi the Earless was just thrown on there. Sadako's backstory means nothing. They made up a name for Kumanthong.
But one thing is very interesting. It does feel to me that this Bunshinsaba versus Sadako is only based on the Sadaka versus Kayako and not on the original Ring series or the Grudge series at all.
So because they can just ditch the mythology.
The tape in the Sayako versus Kayako is the same as in the Chinese one. Yeah. And did you, by the way, notice? I think it was in the third one, because I saw all three, and you must have seen it too. Or they did it in the first one, but in one of the three, and I cannot pinpoint which one it was, but they actually stole a shot from the Ring and put it in the movie.
No.
Yeah, there is shots from... Yes, there is this very famous eye close-up, just straight out of the Ring, and they put it in the movie.
Oh, I don't remember that in this film. In Hoichi
then it must have been
Earless.
the first one. I didn't see it in the second one. They probably did it in the first one, but they also changed the lore of Sadako in Sadako versus Kayako. Because how many days does it take before you die? after you see the tape.
7 days.
Yes. In Sadako versus Kayako, it's 2 days.
Oh, hey, she's worked out how to fast track it. Nice.
Yeah, she stepped up her game, right? She's
48 hours.
No time. So
that's
2
the
days. The tape
short
is
attention
different.
span of this generation, is it?
Yeah, I guess it. Yeah, maybe. But the tape is different and actually more similar to the Bunshinsaba versus Sadako one. But yeah, I noticed that they shamelessly ripped off some scenes straight out of The Ring and just put it in their movie. But still, I think that Bunshinsaba versus Sadako 2 and Bunshinsaba Hoichi The Earless are way better than Sadako versus Kayako.
Thumbs up from both of us then.
Yes.
Before we move on to next week's movie, I have one small question for you, and I want you to answer it in 20 words or less.
20 words or less.
How do you make a good spirit battle movie then? Is it possible?
Well, Bunshinsaba versus Sadako 2 was pretty good, I think. So that one is a good example. Watch that one, then you'll see a good one.
Okay.
I think that the one we're talking about now, the name that's on the screen right now, that's a good one. So, and I just come in fresh. So don't ask me how to make a good. Well, the only thing I can say is if you watch this one, the Bunshinsaba Hoichi The Earless, and then watch Chinese Ghost Story, it needs more Chinese Ghost Story. So more of that. Yeah. So more of the flying stuff, more of the I guess more how you call that? More of the Wu-Tang, more of the.
Actually, I've got some trivia for you. Chinese censorship has evolved so much since Ghost Story has come out that the last remake of the movie, which was The Enchanting Phantom that came out a year and a half ago, they've changed so much of her mythology that she's virtually a different story. So they've changed so much of what she's allowed to do, of how she's allowed to take souls, about what the Black Mountain Demon, a witch, can do. It's so making a movie with this kind of censorship, it's tough. And
the only thing I want to say is that you and I, Dan, we have to make a couple of these, and then we'll show how it's done.
Yeah, but ours might get banned.
Ours might as well maybe not even be just as good, or maybe we're not Chinese. Maybe it sucks.
If we're going to make movies that are getting banned, we're going to go all out, absolutely all out. Now, shall we look at a movie that probably should be banned worldwide?
A movie that goes all out. Yeah.
Let's take a look. What I had to do was, because the trailers are all full of nudity, I've had to kind of cut together 2 minutes of clean video, which for this film is quite difficult to do. So this is a recap of 1 to 4. And then, so we're going to kind of watch a semi-trailer for.
So it's 2 minutes of environment shots.
Yeah. I have no other way of saying that. So anyway, let's have a quick look about what we're going to be covering in the next episode.
All right.
Can you hear that?
No.
Oh, there's something weird with this browser.
Oh, maybe settings. Maybe in the settings you have to put the audio to your browser. Maybe that there is an option for that.
You know what? Give me 1 second. Just keep talking. I'll get the video file ready, and then we can play the video file. Actually, I've got it ready now. There we go. That's got sound. Yeah.
Amazon かよ。ここはもう豊島区です。お宅の好き勝手は許しません。実際見た人量産おるねん。あれは両国を侵犯している。もっとマンコ。もっとマンコ。やらせろ。やらせろ。やらせろ。やらせろ。バカ言わないで。持ち込みカメラによる30分間の撮り放題。特に宝石の。
I really had to cut this bit. Oh. That's all you get.
She's warm. She's warm.
She's just warm.
It's warm. The air goes off. It's summer. What was that?
You know, they've changed the nurse. This is the same nurse, different actress.
そんなことない。その子のためにもやっちまおうか。
like the pink blood.
You know what? I hope Tamamatsu never sees what I've done to this.
It was there in the text.
The P word. And there he is. There's the director of the film.
I just noticed that these 2 minutes feel so long.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's right there.
Right there.
Right there. Right there.
Do you know what's... So you're going to have to watch all 5 of them. I've already watched all 5 of them.
I watched
and then we're going to rank them from...
I only watched the first 2 that I remember, but I have to rewatch obviously all of them.
Well, I'll hook you up with the 5 of them, and we're going to rank them from worst to absolute worst.
We are
because none of these are actually good.
Unless I really like one, you don't know. Maybe I'm like, dude.
If you're going to like any of them, it's going to be part 2, I think, out of all of them, because that's when Maki is there, and I like her. I think she's cute, but there's hardly any Asami in part 2.
That's a no-no for you, yeah.
That is a no-no for me. What's caught my eye the most was when they changed actresses and then reshot all the footage with the new actress. They changed cinematography for parts 4 and 5. It's completely different, looks completely different. But they stayed true to it. It felt like the director had a goal and he made it. I don't think parts 4 and 5 were ever supposed to happen. I think he was only ever supposed to be 1, 2, and 3. And he somehow got another $20 to make 4 and 5. So he was able to finish off his series. And we're going to explore them. Now, when I say worst to super worst, let's be honest, I actually did like the films. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm perverted enough.
Let's get into that next week.
Yeah. So that's next week's, next fortnight's.
Yeah. Next 2 weeks. Fortnights. Is that a thing?
And we're going to have, it's going to be very difficult to do that episode without us getting probably demonetized. So we might just have to embrace the fact that we're going to get demonetized and
it's going to be experimental. We will use your reviews, right? To go through the films and then put our comments on them and then rank them at the end. Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Unfortunately, or fortunately. And
fortunately.
When it came to picking these movies, we both agreed on this one. So that's the good part, is that we both wanted to talk about these. So,
yes, definitely.
Well, that kind of brings us to the end of another episode. I had a lot of fun this time.
It was a good time. Good movies. I mean, one that has a little of a bad taste, but the other one, fixed that palate right up.
I love hearing it. It's very unusual to hear someone enjoy a Chinese horror movie.
It's great. I love it.
Excellent. So, if you're interested about following us on any of our socials, there are in our description of the video. There is all of our socials listed there. There will be now. I'm not sure what we're going to do with the Ouija trailer, so I'll talk to you offline about what we can do.
No, the Ouija trailer will be just like the Homestay trailer. At one point, it will go live on AsianFilmFans.com. So now it disappeared. The only way you can watch it is by watching this episode back until it will be released on Asian Film Fans.
Cool. So there won't be a separate reaction video for that one added to the Asian Film Fans channel. It'll just be the 2 discussions from tonight if you want to catch up on them. Otherwise, I've had a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to talking to you about Lust of the Dead.
Oh, I want to rank them.
I think I know what the order is going to be too. Otherwise, I'm done. I hope you had a great time, everyone.
You already said it. Please follow our socials in the description. We could, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, please. I will start updating those. By the way, follow those if you want to know when Ouija comes out, because as soon as we know, we'll be releasing the new poster. We'll be releasing clips, trailers, and the street date and where you can find it. So,
can't wait. Cannot wait. Beautiful.
All right.
We'll catch everyone in 2 weeks' time.
See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.